A few days ago, a friend I met at the senior center looked at me in surprise. "You look completely different today. Did you visit a dermatologist?" I was caught off guard for a moment. A dermatologist? I don't have the time or money for something like that. But my friend kept asking, "So, how did your wrinkles just vanish?" That's when I touched my face, and sure enough, I could feel that the lines around my mouth had lessened. You see, at that time, I was just using a $5 jar of petroleum jelly. My friend was amazed and said, "Really? You're using something that inexpensive? I spend $200 a month on skincare products. Have any of you ever thought that too? You know, when your wrinkles get deeper, and no matter how much you spend on expensive creams, nothing seems to work." I've had those thoughts myself. But here's the thing. Did you know that with just petroleum jelly, you can achieve results as good as those pricey $200 creams? Let me tell you how. I'm about to share with you the secret to reducing wrinkles and making your skin look younger with just a $5 jar of petroleum jelly. Don't miss this chance. Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Wells. I'm a 78-year-old dermatologist, and for over 50 years, I've worked with many patients, seeing firsthand the incredible effects of petroleum jelly. Based on my experience, I've used it to help numerous patients, and one 76-year-old patient of mine looked 10 years younger in just 3 months. The secret? Petroleum jelly. But here's the catch, folks. Simply applying petroleum jelly isn't going to give everyone the same results. The key is knowing how to use it properly. Once you know the right method, the results can be truly amazing. So, take a moment, subscribe, hit like, and stick with me until the end of this video. I'm going to give you all the details on how to use it the right way. If you use it incorrectly, you might miss out on the full benefits. Now, let's get into the secret that can make your skin look 10 years younger. If you start practicing it today, I promise you'll notice a difference tomorrow. This is the crucial moment. What you do today will shape your tomorrow. I know exactly how you feel. You want to restore your skin and feel more confident. Now, it's time to turn that feeling into action. Now, let me share with you the incredible effects of petroleum jelly, something I've spent years studying. First, I'd like to tell you about a personal experience. About 40 years ago, when I was just starting out as a dermatologist, something happened that truly opened my eyes. I had just returned from my studies in the U.S. and was invited to consult for a global cosmetics company. While I was touring their lab, I witnessed something truly astonishing. One of the researchers proudly held up a brand new product, an $800 luxury cream. I couldn't believe my eyes. But do you know what the key ingredient in that pricey cream was? It was none other than petroleum jelly. Yes, the same petroleum jelly we all know and use. Refined petroleum, the very product you can pick up at any drugstore. I was honestly taken aback. This simple ingredient is being used in such a fancy, expensive product? I thought. In that moment, I realized that the key to truly protecting the skin wasn't about flashy marketing. It was about something basic, something as simple as this. After that experience, I started recommending petroleum jelly to my patients. One of them was Mrs. Margaret White, a 72-year-old woman. She was spending $250 every month on skincare products, yet her skin was still dry and her wrinkles kept getting deeper. So I suggested she give petroleum jelly a try. At first, she was skeptical, but 3 months later, when she came back to see me, I could hardly believe the change in her skin. It was remarkable. She told me, "Doctor, this is unbelievable. I've never seen results like this with any of the products I've used in my life. Even my grandchildren notice that my face looks different." Hearing that made me feel so fulfilled. It was proof that it's never too late to start and that change can happen at any age. It gave me the confidence to tell all of you, you can start your own transformation anytime. Now, I'd like to explain a bit more about the science behind petroleum jelly. Why does it work so well? I'll walk you through it, step by step. As we get older, one of the biggest issues with our skin is dryness. Over time, our skin loses moisture more easily, and that leads to deeper wrinkles and less elasticity. That's why I always tell my patients how important it is to keep the skin hydrated. And this is where petroleum jelly plays a huge role. It acts as a barrier, locking in moisture so it doesn't escape. In simpler terms, petroleum jelly is like a lid that traps moisture in your skin. I like to explain it this way. Imagine a bowl of water. Without a lid, the water will evaporate over time. But petroleum jelly? That's the lid. Studies have shown that petroleum jelly can prevent moisture loss by up to 98%. No expensive creams out there can match that. The effect really is incredible. Now, think for a moment about the products you've used over the years. How much money have you spent on them? And what were the results? Now that you know the real secret of petroleum jelly, start using it today. Your skin and your wallet will thank you. But here's the thing. Petroleum jelly isn't a cure-all. There are ways to make its effects even stronger, ways that can really take your skincare routine to the next level. Let me share those with you now. The first trick is using a moisture ampoule along with petroleum jelly. Does your granddaughter ever give you those fancy moisture ampoules? Well, instead of just applying it the usual way, there's a little trick. The hyaluronic acid in the ampoules is great for absorbing moisture, but over time, it can evaporate into the air. A few years ago, a 67-year-old patient, Mrs. Helen Smith, tried using a hyaluronic acid ampoule, but she didn't see much improvement. So I advised her to apply the ampoule, wait for a few minutes, and then gently layer a thin coat of petroleum jelly over it. A month later, Mrs. Smith came back with a big smile on her face. Her skin had visibly improved. She said, "Doctor, this is amazing. I used the same ampoule, but the results are completely different." That's petroleum jelly at work, locking in the moisture so it doesn't escape. Just like that, you double or even triple the effectiveness. The second trick is combining retinol with petroleum jelly. Mrs. Dorothy Miller, a 72-year-old patient of mine, told me that whenever she used retinol cream, her skin would sting and turn red. Retinol is great for your skin, but it can be a little harsh. So I suggested that after applying retinol, she wait for 20 to 30 minutes, then layer on a thin amount of petroleum jelly. The result? No more stinging, and the retinol worked even better. Here's an important tip. Always use retinol at night. Sunlight can make your skin more sensitive and cause irritation. The third trick is using a whitening essence with petroleum jelly. This method actually gave great results for my wife after she used it for 3 months. Whitening essences are fantastic for fading dark spots and pigmentation. After 3 months of using this combination, My wife's dark spots had noticeably lightened. All you need to do is apply the essence, wait for about 5 minutes, then layer a thin layer of petroleum jelly on top. After 3 months, when you look in the mirror, you might just be amazed at what you see. The last trick is pairing snail cream with petroleum jelly. Snail cream is fantastic for skin regeneration, but over time, its effects can diminish. A colleague of mine, Dr. Thomas Lee, who's 80 years old, used this combination and saw incredible results. When he applied snail cream and followed it with a layer of petroleum jelly, the skin regeneration lasted longer and helped reduce wrinkles too. It's truly remarkable. Now, I want to share something important with you all. Let me tell you a story from my clinic. About 15 years ago, a 78-year-old woman named Mrs. Grace Parker came to see me. She told me that she had spent a lot of money on expensive creams and had even had several cosmetic procedures. Yet, despite all that, she said to me, "Doctor, I've worked hard on my face, but why can people still tell how old I am?" So I asked her, "What about your hands and neck? How do you take care of them?" She paused for a moment and then replied, "I just wash them with water." That's when I said, the truth is, people don't just judge your age by your face. Often, they can tell by your hands and neck. Here's an important point I want to make. While we often focus on our faces, the areas that show our age the most are actually our hands, neck, the back of our ears, elbows, and knees. Why do these areas age faster? Because the skin is thinner, moisture is lost more easily, and they're more exposed to the sun. My wife, for instance, has taken care of not just her face, but also her hands and neck from a young age. That's why, at 80 years old, people often think she's in her early 70s. Now, let me share with you how to take care of these hidden signs of aging. The first area to focus on is the neck. Mrs. Eleanor Jenkins, one of my patients, said to me, "Doctor, I didn't know my neck would get these wrinkles. No one ever told me to take care of my neck when I was younger." The skin on the neck is thinner than the face, and it has fewer oil glands, so it gets dry and wrinkled more easily. The simple tip I gave her was to apply her regular cream or essence before bed, and then layer a thin coat of petroleum jelly on top. The key is to apply it from the bottom up. After a month, she could feel a significant improvement in the wrinkles on her neck. I'll never forget the joy she expressed when she told me how much better it looked. The second area is the hands. Mrs. Charlotte Davis, who was celebrating her 60th wedding anniversary, asked me, "Doctor, is there anything I can do to make my hands look younger? My granddaughter's wedding is next month, and I'm so embarrassed about how my hands look in photos." The solution I gave her was simple. At night, apply a generous amount of moisturizing cream to her hands, layer petroleum jelly on top, and wear cotton gloves while she slept. Just 1 week later, her hands looked noticeably smoother. She called me on the day of the wedding, thrilled with the results. You can start this tonight, and I promise you'll see incredible results. Here's another tip. Once or twice a week, try a petroleum jelly hand mask. Apply a generous amount to your hands. Wear cotton gloves for 30 minutes, and you'll have hands that look 10 years younger. The third area is the elbows and knees. One of my longtime patients, Mr. William Turner, told me that every summer when he wore shorts, he was self-conscious about his dark, rough knees. Elbows and knees are often overlooked, but they're some of the first areas to become rough and dry as we age. Just keeping these areas soft and smooth can make a huge difference in your overall appearance. The tip I gave him was to apply petroleum jelly right after showering while his skin was still damp, and then to apply a thicker layer before bed. When he came back a few weeks later, he was amazed by how soft his knees felt. He told me, "I never imagined my knees could feel so smooth." Now, he proudly wears shorts without any self-consciousness. The fourth area is behind the ears and the earlobes. These areas are often ignored, but the skin here is thin and ages quickly. My daughter once said, "Dad, Grandma's ears are sagging and it makes her look older." That's right. When the skin behind the ears loses elasticity, it can make the whole face look droopy. The solution is simple. When applying your face creams, make sure to also apply them to your ears and earlobes, especially at night. You can add a light layer of petroleum jelly to help keep the skin firm. Many of my patients have told me how happy they are with the firmer skin around their ears after trying this. Finally, we have the lips and the area around the mouth. Mrs. Ruth Martinez, at 80 years old, came to me and said, "Doctor, the wrinkles around my lips are so deep. This area bothers me the most." The lips and the area around the mouth move constantly, which makes them one of the first areas to wrinkle. I recommended a simple solution. Before bed, generously apply petroleum jelly to the lips and the area around the mouth. While you sleep, the jelly will soak in, smoothing out those lines and boosting elasticity. After a month, when Mrs. Martinez came back, she was thrilled to see how much improved the wrinkles around her lips had become. She said, "It's so much better now. I don't feel self-conscious when I smile anymore." So, what's the key to good skin care? Consistency. Mrs. Elizabeth White, one of my 78-year-old patients, once told me, "At first, I didn't notice much of a difference. But after about 3 months, I could really see the change. Now, it's just part of my nightly routine to apply petroleum jelly." I encourage all of you to start tonight. Stick with it, and I promise you'll see amazing results. If you're skeptical, try a simple test. Starting tonight, apply petroleum jelly to just one hand. After a month, compare both hands. You'll be shocked by the difference. Now, everyone, while the skincare tips I've shared with you so far are incredibly important, there's something even more critical that I need to address. If you're not aware of these precautions, your skin could actually end up in worse shape. This is especially important for those of you with oily or acne-prone skin. I've already shared tips for taking care of your face, neck, hands, and elbows, but sometimes just following those methods won't be enough to see the full benefits. That's why it's crucial to understand these next precautions in order to truly experience the full effect of petroleum jelly. Many of you might be wondering, "I have oily skin. Can I use petroleum jelly?" In fact, this is one of the most common questions I get in my clinic. Mrs. Dorothy Evans, a 76-year-old patient, asked me this very question. After carefully assessing her skin, I gave her a few important tips. Even as we age, our skin types stay the same, so those with oily skin need to be especially mindful of how they use petroleum jelly. Petroleum jelly is an incredible ingredient, but it's not always suitable for every skin type. Today, I'm going to go over the best ways to use it if you have oily or acne-prone skin. Personally, I'm 87 years old and I still have oily skin, so I'm speaking from my own experience here. First, if you have oily skin, it's important not to apply petroleum jelly all over your face. One of my patients, Mr. John Harris, who has oily skin, applied petroleum jelly to his entire face and ended up with worse breakouts. Since oily skin already produces more sebum, using petroleum jelly on the whole face can clog your pores and lead to more problems. I advised him to avoid the T-zone, forehead, nose, and chin, and only apply a very thin layer to the drier areas of his face, like the cheeks and under the eyes. After making this adjustment, his skin improved noticeably. Second, if you have acne, avoid applying petroleum jelly directly to the affected areas. Mrs. Linda Thompson, a 71-year-old patient, had frequent breakouts, and at first, she tried applying petroleum jelly to her pimples. Unfortunately, this only made her acne worse. Acne happens when pores are clogged, and petroleum jelly can exacerbate that. So, if you have acne, apply petroleum jelly only to the dry areas of your face and avoid putting it on any active breakouts. After following this advice, Mrs. Thompson saw a significant improvement in her skin, with fewer breakouts and much smoother texture. Third, you can also mix petroleum jelly with other ingredients to enhance its effects. Mrs. Sarah Lewis, another patient of mine, had both acne and dry skin. The solution I gave her was simple. Mix a drop or two of tea tree oil with a pea-sized amount of petroleum jelly. Tea tree oil has natural antibacterial properties that can help calm acne, while petroleum jelly keeps the skin hydrated. This combination worked wonders for her, tackling both dryness and breakouts at the same time. Fourth, you can combine petroleum jelly with topical creams for even better results. One of my colleagues, a fellow doctor, struggled with eczema, and I suggested he apply a thin layer of petroleum jelly over his prescribed ointment. He told me it doubled the effectiveness of the cream. It's amazing. The same cream, but with petroleum jelly, it works so much better. So, if you're using any prescription creams, petroleum jelly can help lock in the benefits and make them even more effective. Fifth, be aware that petroleum jelly can cause allergic reactions in some people, so it's always best to do a patch test before using it on your face. Mrs. Helen Carter, 83 years old, had a red, swollen reaction the first time she used petroleum jelly. It's rare, but it can happen. If you're new to using petroleum jelly, test it on the inside of your arm or behind your ear and wait for 24 hours to see if any irritation develops. If all goes well, then it's safe to apply it to your face. Finally, don't overdo it with petroleum jelly. When I first started using it, I applied too much and found it sticky and uncomfortable. The key is to use a very thin layer. Just a small pea-sized amount will go a long way. Apply it evenly across your face. Also, it's better to use petroleum jelly at night because during the day it can attract dust and dirt, and the sticky feeling can be uncomfortable. Now, if you follow these precautions and use petroleum jelly the right way, you'll be amazed by the results. If you skip these important steps, you could end up doing more harm than good. So please remember these tips. All right, everyone. Now, let me share the perfect evening routine with petroleum jelly that can make your skin look 10 years younger. If you follow this routine, I promise you'll see a remarkable difference. Trust me and give it a try. A few years ago, I still vividly remember what Mrs. Evelyn Harris, a 78-year-old patient, said to me in the clinic. "Doctor, Wells, I'm 78 now. Isn't it too late for skincare? Shouldn't I just give up?" I looked at her and said, "The moment you give up because of your age, that's when you truly age. If you start today, tomorrow will be better." My mentor, who lived to 92, exercised every morning and took care of his skin until the very end. Watching him, I learned the power of habit. So Ms. Harris started using petroleum jelly, though a bit skeptical at first. And after 6 months, her skin was noticeably different. The biggest change was in her hands and neck. It was absolutely amazing. She told me, "Doctor, my grandchildren keep telling me my hands feel so soft now. I'm so glad I started, even at this age." That memory still sticks with me. Folks, there's never a wrong time to start taking care of your skin. If you begin today, tomorrow will be better. And in a month, you'll see visible changes. A year from now, you'll have completely different skin. My wife always says, "We're not trying to look young. We're just trying to age healthily." That's exactly right. Skincare is not just about looking good on the outside. It's about laying the foundation for a healthy future. Healthy skin is our first line of defense against external elements. Now let's talk about the simple petroleum jelly evening routine you can start tonight. If you skip this last piece of advice, the results from the methods I've shared so far might not be as effective. It's really simple, but the order of application is key. First, gently wash your face with lukewarm water in the evening. Hot water can dry out your skin, so lukewarm water is best. Then, use a towel to gently pat your face dry. Don't dry it completely, as leaving a little moisture helps the products absorb better. Next, apply your usual essence or serum. If you don't have an essence, just using petroleum jelly is fine. Let the essence soak into your skin for about 1 to 2 minutes. Take this time to relax and breathe deeply. Now, take a small amount of petroleum jelly, about the size of a grain of rice, warm it up between your fingers, and gently apply it to your face. For areas with deeper wrinkles, you can apply a bit more. Don't forget to take care of your neck, hands, elbows, behind the ears, around the mouth and eyes, all the spots that need a little extra attention. If you repeat this small act of self-care every day, it'll become a vital part of preparing for a healthy future. Over the past 50 years as a doctor, I've shared the secrets of petroleum jelly with my patients, and tonight I've shared them with you. Now, the rest is up to you. Starting this small habit tonight will lead to a completely transformed version of yourself in 10 years. I know some of you may find it hard to implement all the tips I've shared at once. So, why not start with just one thing tonight? For example, try applying petroleum jelly to just your hands. That small start can transform not only your skin, but your confidence and your quality of life. I truly hope your skin, your health, and your life shine brighter from here on out. I'm Dr. Robert Wells. If this video was helpful, please hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Have a peaceful night and start your journey to a healthier and more beautiful tomorrow with your petroleum jelly routine. Thank you.